Hi guys, Toan Nguyen, and welcome to PowerCouple.tv. Today's episode, I really want to talk to you about something that I believe that's very, very important, and it is your why. See, Van and I, when we first got started in this industry about a decade ago, I can remember clear as day how we felt. We were nervous, excited at the same time, huge anxiety, didn't know what we got ourselves into. And the first thing that kept on popping up in our head is, how do we do this business? How do I approach someone? How do I do this without looking like a stupid idiot when I'm approaching my friends and families? And when it comes down to it, your how on approaching someone isn't really that important. Now it's important. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't learn the skill. You shouldn't learn the skill of presentation. You shouldn't learn the skill of approaching someone. You shouldn't learn the skill of doing a three-way call or inviting someone to a live event. I'm not saying that those things aren't important. I believe that 20% of this business is on the skills that you need to learn in this industry. But when it comes down to it, it's your why. 80% of this business is really your mindset of why you're doing this business. In the book Think and Grow Rich, author Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill, if you haven't picked up that book, you got to pick it up. He in the first chapter, he talks about desire. See, you have to have a white hot burning desire to keep you going so that you can wake up earlier, so you can work later, so that you can actually stay later and actually talk to more people or be able to connect with more people when everyone has actually gone and left, right, at an event. See, your desire is going to what pull you through the day and really keep you going even at the most toughest times. And if I was to sit here today and ask you one on one on a personal basis, and I said, why are you doing the business? Would you have a straight answer right away? Would you actually have something that goes right out of the tip of your tongue? Would you have clarity when I ask you that question? Why are you doing the business? Now, some of you might say, well, I'm doing it because money. I'm doing it because I want to make more money. That's great. At the end of the day, money is just printed paper with dead presidents on it, right? Now, I know it sounds like I'm joking, but seriously, it is just paper. Now, what would you do with the money? Would you spend more time, spend more time with your family, go on more vacations? Would you, travel the world? Maybe you're a jet setter, right? Or maybe you've always wanted to retire a loved one. Maybe there's someone in your family that's sick, they can't work, but they have to work because of money. Maybe you want to be able to take care of them, right? Maybe you always wanted to tie to your church or your ministry, do some ministry work, right? Or you might want to be able to start a nonprofit or organization that you've always actually felt dear to your heart. But it has to be more than money, okay? So let me give you a quick example real quick. I'll illustrate it for you so that you can see that it's not about money, okay? So let me go ahead and actually go and share the screen real quick so you can see. Okay. Hold on just a second. I'll pull this right up. Okay. So I'm gonna go and draw something out for you so that you can see and I can prove my point that it's not about the money, but what you can do with the money. Okay. So let's say, for example, that there's two buildings. Okay. Now I'm not the best illustrator in the world, right? But let's say this is a 30 foot, 30 stories tall building, right? 30 stories tall. Okay. I'm gonna draw some. I'm gonna draw some. Forgive me, or I'm using my finger here. Right? I need a stylus. But these are windows, right? We got nice, funny windows here. Okay. Let's not forget that there's a door that you can go through, right? So here we got our first building. Okay, 30 stories tall, and then we got the other building. Okay, let's say we draw building number two. Now building number two is as tall as the other building that I just drew. Okay. Now let me ask you something real quick. Let's not forget, it's 30 stories tall. I'm gonna put a rope right that connects from one building to the other. Now you're on this side, okay? That's you, okay? So let me ask you something real quick. If I told you that there was money on this other side, okay? Money. I gotta make sure it looks nicer. There you go, money. And let's say there was money on this side, and let's put a amount. Let's say there was $100 over here. There was $100 on the other side, 30 stories tall. Would you would you stand on that rope 30 stories tall? Okay, and you're about you're about 200 200 feet 200 feet away. Would you climb that rope to the other side to pick up $100? You probably say, well, I probably go down the elevator, right? I'll probably go down the elevator, go this side. No. Let's just say that you can't do that. The only way you can get that $100 is climb that rope or stand on that rope. Would you do it? Of course not, right? That's crazy. Why? Because you could possibly die, right? That's not something that is smart to do. Okay, maybe it's not the fact that it's money or not. Maybe it's the amount. Let's put an extra zero there. Would you do it for $1,000? Maybe, right? Some of you may say, man, you know what? Maybe, right? But the maybe is not big enough, right? So maybe let's add another zero. Okay. Would you do it for $10,000? You probably wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Why? Because you could die. That's the answer, right? You could die. What if it's not 10? What if it's $100,000? That sounds a lot better, right? More appealing. Of course you wouldn't. Okay. Even if it was $1 million, would you do it for $1 million? You could buy a home. You could actually set yourself up. You could put away for retirement. You wouldn't. Even for $10 million, you wouldn't do it. So, how about this? Let's just cross out the money. Okay. Let's erase that for a second. Let's just say it's somebody that you love. Think about this for a second. Who's the person that you love the most, that you care about? Okay. Maybe it's your son. Okay. Maybe it's your daughter. Maybe it's your wife, your husband, your mom. Whatever the case is, let's put them all together and let's put them, they're right over here. Okay. They're on top of this roof. They need your help. Okay. And you're saying, what kind of help do they need? Okay. This building right here, it's safe. It's safe. It's the only place they can go. But over here, the building is on fire. Okay. Building's on fire. Now, the only way that they can survive and they can live is if you save them. Would you save them? Of course you would. Would you question it? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't even think, how do I climb the rope? Should I actually tippy toe? Should I wear gloves? No. You wouldn't even, you would just react. You would just go, you know what? I'm going. Because why? In a matter of minutes, the chances of your loved one could get hurt would just haunt you. And you would just not even think about, you wouldn't even question it. You climb that rope and you'd get to the other side and save them. So what's my whole point? That it's not about the money. That when you have a why that has people involved and you have things that are bigger than the dollar amount, when it's bigger than just paper with dead presidents on it, it's going to drive you like crazy. And you wouldn't think about the how. You wouldn't think about how you're going to approach someone. You wouldn't think about how you talk to someone. The how's going to come because your why is going to get you there. So you definitely need a strong why. You need a strong why that's white hot, a desire that's white hot, it's burning you inside, that's going to keep you going. It's going to wake you up early. It's going to keep you up late until you get it accomplished. Until then, anything and any excuse will get you to drop out. So, guys, my whole topic today for you is to find your why and make sure that it's white hot, because that is truly what is going to get you to the top of your business. Hopefully this helps, guys. See you guys at the next episode.